Alright, hey, it is Mega here, and I'm shooting another video of my KLX170, or it's a KLX140 with a 170 big bore kit anyway. So I've been working on this bike for a number of years, a long time now, man. and I think this is going to probably be the final upgrade. I think I do need to get new front tires. I think my front tires are done on this bike, but yeah, I got like 10 years out of that front tire. I'd say it did a pretty good job. But anyway, that's besides the point of this video. So in this video, we're going to do a KX100 shock absorber swap, okay? So we're gonna swap this bad boy out for the stock KLX one out, okay? So this KLX140 already has the BBR heavy duty spring on it, okay? I think it's like a 6.6 kgmm. It's supposed to be, what the suspension shop had told me is I need a stiffer spring, and that's already a stiffer spring, so you can just imagine how soft it was before, okay? I'm 5'10", 175 pounds, so like, yeah, it's too much for that shock to handle, okay? I think you can get stiffer springs from Race Tech, okay? That's probably what I should have done in the first place. Use the spring calculator and buy the right spring, okay? But I just put the BBR spring. I'll tell you this, with the BBR spring on it, it handles a lot better, okay? But it's still too soft. And the front is too stiff, and the rear is too soft, okay? And the front forks are KX forks, all right? So why not pair it with a KX rear shock absorber, okay? Also, another reason I want to do this mod is one is cheap, okay, because you can use existing parts from existing bikes, okay? There's plenty of KX100s or KX85s out there, so you can get this shock from a Kawasaki KX100 or a KX85, okay? It's pretty much the same shock absorber, all right? I had done some shopping on eBay, and I got this for $135. After the tax, it winds up being about $150 anyway. So it was $150, and then the seller offered to me for $135, and then with the tax, it wound up being like $145 anyways. So yeah, I got it for around $150 from eBay. Okay, California wants their cut, basically, so. Oh, okay. Also, I had to buy a new bump stop, okay? So I got a KYB bump stop here. All right, it's a part number 120341200101. I'll put that part number in the description below. This is actually for a KX85. I could not find one for a KX100, but it looks like pretty much the same thing. It looks like it's the same one on the KLX140 also. Also, I just checked my KLX140, and mine still does have the stock bump stop, okay? Even though I bought the bottom the crap out of this bike out, I bet. But we'll go ahead and install a new one. These do wear out, and they deteriorate after a while. So this one does not have one anymore. It's gone. It's gone. Okay? So this shock came from a 2004 KX100 is where it came from, okay? I was shopping on eBay, and you can get them anywhere from $100 to like $400, okay? I think $150 is, you know, about the average price. If it's kind of old, like a 90s KX, you can probably get it for less than $100, but you're probably gonna have to rebuild. So this one is 2004. This was more than 10 years old. This is older than this bike, okay? But it still looks like it's in great shape. It's not leaking or anything, you know. It still looks good, okay? Should I do a shock service on it? I probably should. At the very least, I should change the oil on it. But like I said, it doesn't look like it's leaking or anything. We're just gonna throw it in there and see what happens, okay? So another one of the reasons I wanted to change this shock was to get better dampening, okay? So one of the things that somebody had told me when they saw me racing on the Supermoto track is they can see my rear wheel skipping around the corners, okay? So like the rear end kind of bounces around and it slides. You don't want that to happen. You don't want the oscillations to happen. You want that rear wheel to stay planted on the ground so you get better traction, okay? And they said the reason for that is you don't have enough dampening, okay? So not enough dampening, and I think it's not stiff enough too, so we got to stiffen up the rear end and increase the dampening. So I think we can do that with this. This has a little bit more extra dampening adjustments on it, so I think this might do the trick for not a lot of money, okay? I wish I could go with the aftermarket alternative, but I don't know if any aftermarket rear shock that fits on this bike, okay? But I guess if you could find an aftermarket shock for a KX100 or 85, you could probably adapt it to fit to this bike, okay? But we're going to actually adapt this shock to fit onto this bike, okay? This shock is actually slightly different than the KLX140 shock, and we'll find that out when we start getting into the project right here, okay? It's going to be a little bit involved, okay? So it's not super duper hard, but some modifications have to be done to the bike. So I think it's kind of irreversible. It's kind of irreversible modification. So like, yeah, we'll be stuck with this KX shock, okay? And also another thing we're going to do is we're going to flip the linkage. We're going to flip it upside down so we can get some more ground clearance. So another thing, when the front forks, when I had installed these KX forks, it raises your front end by 1 or 2, like about 2 inches. It raises it a lot. That's why I have these forks pushed up into the triple tree to like account for that, okay? But that does kind of mess up your kind of travel a little bit. So I think if we raise the rear end, we can push this down, and then we'll have a little more ground clearance too. So that'll be good. And also, if the back is higher, we'll get a little more oversteer riding on the kart track. So I think that's a good thing also. So okay, so yeah, so I got this and this. We got to go install these. We will be using the BBR shock on this. I hope it works on this. It looks like it will. Okay, because I'm pretty sure the KX100 is probably much lighter. I wouldn't say it's much lighter, but like, I'm pretty sure a KX100 is lighter than the KLX, okay? And the suspension is already too soft, okay? So I'm pretty sure this spring is softer than the one that's on the KLX. So we definitely need to put the heavier duty spring on this one, okay? Or else it's going to be too soft. But I think the combination of better dampening and the BBR spring will hopefully get us the dampening and the stiffer spring that we need, okay? And maybe flipping the linkage around will help also as well. I heard that it does stiffen up the suspension a little bit, because I feel that the rear, it's just too soft. Like when you're going over whoops and stuff, the back just flops around. It's like you feel like you got no control on the back, so you got to stand up, you know. Maybe, you know, if we do this mod, I won't have to stand up as much as on the whoops, okay? That's what I've noticed, okay? Alright, so the first thing we got to do is we got to take the bike apart, okay? Oh yeah, also this little shock bumper, or it's called a bump stop, this costed me about like $19, okay? I got it on eBay also. Shouldn't be too hard to find. Like I said, you have to look for one for a KX85. They didn't have one for KX100 for whatever reason, but it's pretty much the same shock. Okay, it should probably work on a KLX140. Also, my KLX140 still has it, so we could have used that one too, because we're gonna have to take both shocks apart. Okay, all right, here's my go. Let's get started. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna check to see the pressure in here. All right. Of the nitrogen. I'm just going to check it. We can't fill it. If I need to fill it, I have to go to a shop that has a nitrogen tank, okay? So but we're just going to check it with my meter here. It's 100, and wow, the range is 0 to 100 psi on this. Okay, so you need a really high pressure gauge. I don't think this is going to work, but we can try. We'll see if we'll do it. It only goes up to 100. So I don't have it hooked up to anything, so we can't put any air in there. I'm thinking I'm probably before we install it on the bike, we're gonna go take it to a shop first, okay? But first we're gonna go check to see what the air pressure is. Okay. Oh, we don't think we can do it with this. Ah, we can't. I can't do it with this. It doesn't go. It goes too deep in there. There we go. 36 psi. Okay. So there was 36 psi in there. It smelled really bad too. Oh, now it has like 10 psi. Okay, so there was 36 and now there's 11. So definitely, there's definitely the nitrogen is like gone in here. So so we're gonna have to have it refilled. The best thing to do would have this refilled at a shop. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the. We'll just add nitrogen to it. Like I said, we should do a shock service on this. I don't know when the last time this shock was serviced. At the very least we could do is just change the oil in it, but it actually does tell you how to change the oil in the manual. It's not that hard, but like I said, it's not leaking. I'm just gonna do it as is. But we will have a shop refill this. So it was 36 psi. And then when I checked it, it was like 11 psi. So definitely, there was not enough air before. Anyways, there only 36 psi. That's not enough. It's got to be 142 psi. Okay, so so we're gonna go take this puppy to a shop before we install it on the bike. Okay, so today all I'm gonna really get done is dismantling the old shock. Okay, we'll prep this shock ready to be installed. Okay, and that's as far as we're gonna go. Okay, we just need to get this refilled. I think it'll be better to do it off the bike. That's what I want to say. All right, here's we got. So yeah, that's one thing to check. If you bought a used KX100 shock that's kind of questionable, you know, about its condition, this one looks great. It's not leaking. There's no oil coming out of it, so that's good. The bump stop is missing, so you want to make sure you have the bump stop in there. There's no bump stop. See, gone. You can tell there's pieces of it left in there. You'll see some foam in there. Okay, so that's missing. And then yeah, the nitrogen charge. Okay, so I guess over time the nitrogen kind of depletes itself, and it looks like we're gonna have to go get it refilled. Okay, so I will take that to a shop tomorrow, but what we're gonna do today is we're just gonna strip the bike down and take the old shock out. Okay, all right, here's me out.